Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Miss Campbell and today I'm going to show you how to make and install a sensory path made out of permanent vinyl. I went online and I saw that the sensory path vinyls are like $1,500, so that is crazy. So this is a more cost-effective way to have a sensory path in your classroom. So let me go ahead and show you where I'll be decorating. We are going to decorate this part of the floor here, and it's gonna go all the way around. For this project, I'm using the Cricut Venture because I am making a big decal, which is the big snake that you first saw. And you can honestly use a Cricut Explorer or a Cricut Maker if you are going to do this project. However, you won't be able to make something that is as big as this piece, but this is the only piece that was really big. So if you don't have a Cricut Venture, you totally don't need one. So anyways, I cut the big snake on here. Once it's cut, then I peel off the excess material of the vinyl. This is what it looks like when I'm finished peeling the excess material. Then I am adding white shapes to it. And the reason why I'm adding white shapes is because I'm also going to add colored vinyl, as you can see here. But sometimes when you're layering vinyl onto a darker colored vinyl, like the green is a darker colored vinyl, it won't show that well. So I learned to add white vinyl so that the colors could be more vibrant. I'm using transfer tape, so I remove the backing of it, and then it's way easier to use a scraper tool and kind of slide it while you're removing that back piece of the transfer tape. Once the transfer tape is on there, then I'm using a scraper tool just so that it's on there nice and firmly. Then I am peeling it off. So I'm flipping it over and then peeling the backing of the transfer tape off. When you're peeling your backing of the transfer tape off, try to go nice and slow, especially when dealing with a big piece of vinyl like this one, because you don't want to accidentally rip your vinyl, because that has happened to me many times in the past, and you just want to make sure that you're being very careful. Once you have it attached to your transfer tape, you're going to flip it over the way that you want it. So the direction that I have is the end of the snake is going to be right by the ladybug, and tape a little bit of the end of your transfer tape to the floor. That way you know where you want the snake at, or whatever piece of vinyl you're using, and then you'll be able to start applying pressure to the vinyl piece. Then you'll want to use your scraper to make sure that it is applied nice and firmly to the floor. By the way, you need to make sure that your floor is clean before you add any vinyl to the floor, because if there's any residue or dirt on the floor, then your vinyl will not be applied nice and firmly. So just make sure you mop and sweep and do what you have to do. I would also recommend using alcohol to apply vinyl, especially if you're doing it on the floor. All you would do is take like a cotton ball and put some alcohol on it and rub it on the surface that you plan on adding the vinyl to, and you would apply the vinyl while it's still wet, so that way it will go on there nice and smooth. And that is literally the best way to avoid air bubbles. I really wish that I did that, but I totally forgot to do it. But it's okay. It ended up working out fine. Once you have your vinyl attached to the floor, you're going to peel off the transfer tape, and you want to do this gently. And if you see that some of your vinyl is coming up, because that transfer tape is pretty sticky, so if you peel it too fast, it will sometimes pick up some of your vinyl. So you can use your scraper like I just did and try to use that to avoid those air bubbles if possible. Next, my favorite part is the caterpillars. So I cut out the background using black vinyl. And remember how earlier I said that you need to use white if you have a dark vinyl that you're layering? So I'm using this white vinyl for his face, and I'm also using my scraper, and then I'm attaching his face on there. If I didn't use the white, then the lime green wouldn't look as vibrant as it does, and I didn't really match it up completely correct. That's why you see a little bit of the white showing, but honestly, it's not a huge deal. Of course, I would have liked it to be perfectly aligned, but it's not the end of the world that it's not. And then I'm going to layer the rest of the pieces on there. And you'll notice that when I attach the pieces, I actually forgot to use white vinyl, but you'll see how it looks a little bit dark using, you see how when I press that orange on there, you could kind of see through it. And that's the reason why that I use white vinyl whenever I'm layering something onto dark colored vinyl. A little trick that I learned is that if you have an air bubble, you can poke a little hole in it and then you can squeeze the air out. Next, I'm adding the letters onto the caterpillar. So I did lay out all of the vinyl on the floor before I added the letters because I wanted to make sure that it was in the position that I wanted to. That way I didn't have to waste vinyl or redo anything that I didn't like. And if you notice that red part of the caterpillar, that is a really good example of what I'm talking about when I'm saying you should definitely try to use white, because I didn't use white and you can see that the red is not as vibrant as it should be, but that's okay. It's not a huge deal, but I would have liked to use white as the first layer when making this caterpillar. So if you're making this, just learn from my mistakes. You'll notice that I'm not using transfer tape to apply this vinyl because I didn't really need it. And I saw from adding the snake that if you use transfer tape, some of the residue of the transfer tape might stay on your vinyl, and it was a pain to get it off. So I just decided I wanted to remove an extra step and just apply the vinyl by using a scraper like I'm doing right now. And again, you want to make sure you're doing this very slowly because one of the other caterpillars that I transferred on, one of the legs fell off and the antenna because I wasn't very careful when applying it. So you just want to make sure you're going nice and slow. It wasn't a huge deal. I just still attached the leg and the antenna on there. So it's not going to make or break your project, but just to forewarn you that you should be very careful. Once the caterpillar is on the floor, I am giving it another pressing with the scraper just to make sure it's on there, and if you have any air bubbles, you can just smooth it out that way. Now I'm going to show you how to make the flowers. So I previously weeded out the excess material on the vinyl, and I'm adding a orange circle to the middle of the flower, and all of the circles are cut the same size. I did use orange and kind of like a golden vinyl color that I'm applying here to the pink flower, and I am doing a pattern. So the flowers will be orange, yellow, as well as purple, pink. And there are some blue flowers as well. You'll see at the end of this video when I show you the complete sensory path. So once I finish adding the centerpiece of the flowers, and make sure you use a scraper as well, and this is a great way to get rid of the air bubbles, just to use a scraper as you apply it on there. Once I have the center of the flowers attached, then I am getting my letters and just peeling it and attaching it onto the centerpiece. So again, you don't really need transfer tape if you have easy vinyl to apply. I found that it was way faster to just apply it without using transfer tape for this specific project. I would say you need transfer tape if you're using smaller pieces of vinyl and things that you can't necessarily just peel off with your hands. Once you have all of your flowers, then you're going to peel it off of the vinyl backing and then apply it to the floor. And as I mentioned earlier, you want to make sure that your floor is clean. So there was like some dust there, so I just scooted it off with my hand, which I don't recommend. I recommend just wiping it down with something. Here is the final result of the sensory path. My idea is that children will hop on the ladybugs, balance on the snake, hop on the flowers. Maybe you can tell them to hop with one foot, balance on the caterpillar, and it will take them all the way to their carpet. Let me know your thoughts about this sensory path, and please subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and take care. I'll catch you in the next video.